there has been a lot of interesting news, and one that I wanted to make sure that my parents were aware of were the 2024 FAFSA updates. So if you are not familiar with the FAFSA form, it is the free application for federal student aid. So the FAFSA form is a form that every family needs to fill out. Now, there's a stigma attached to the free application for federal student aid, right? And the stigma is that it is only for low income. It's only for middle class family. It's only for people who need help paying for school. But let me tell y'all, with the state of education costs today, that they are continually rising. I don't know anyone who would turn down some help for some federal aid, for some free money, for some grants, for some opportunities to lower the cost for our kids. And just a couple of days ago, the federal student aid, they just did a soft launch of the form. And so in 4 days, over 400,000 people have come to the website to start filling out the free application for federal student aid. 400,000 people, y'all. And the reason why is because our government, and excuse me for a moment, our government gives out $1.2 billion of funding every year. Did y'all hear that number? $1.2 billion of funding every year. And you have to complete this form in order to see if you're eligible to receive any of it. All right. And so I took some notes down when I was doing my little research because whether you are whether you fall into that low income category, middle income, high income family, I'm going to tell you why, no matter where you are, no matter how much money you guys are making, why it's important that you fill out this form. Everybody should fill it out, in my opinion. The first reason is, one, when you fill out this form, it gives you some options, right? So it allows you to become eligible for federal aid, for grants. That's money that you don't have to pay back. It allows you to become eligible for work study. So when I attended North Carolina A&T, I qualified for work study, and I was able to work in the financial aid office, believe it or not, to earn some money so it could help me pay for some of my educational expenses, my books and things like that, right? So if your family makes so much money, right? The FAFSA form will also let you know if you qualify for aid that may be merit based, right? So merit based scholarships or merit based aid packages. And so what I mean by that, if you're not familiar, is that your kids may be making great grades. They got a high GPA. They score really high on these standardized tests, the ACT, the SAT, right? They may be knocking it out the park academically. And so they're getting all these academic scholarships. But there are some merit based scholarships that still want you to complete this FAFSA form in order to be able to say, yep, you qualify for this merit based scholarship, and now we're going to award you that money. All right. The third bucket of why this is important to fill out, no matter the income of your family, is that it also unlocks the option for you to even apply for student loans. Now, student loans is one of the key things that makes it possible for many families to be able to send their one or multiple kids to school. I know that is the testimony of my family. I am the youngest of four girls. So we took out loans, me and my sisters. My parents took out the Parent Plus loans. Everybody was taking out loans because that's how much we valued and believed in a higher education. So I still believe in the value of higher education. And the statistics still show that those who have a college degree, no matter what you majored in, still make more on average in most everyday cases than someone who just has a high school diploma, right? So until we can totally shift that, right? Until we get ourselves together where we're giving our kids the financial head start, where having a diploma or an advanced degree is not going to help them more financially, then we need to start thinking about ways that we're going to pay for our kids' education costs. And so that's why these FAFSA updates are important and why you should be locked in and tuning in. If you have a student who is planning to attend college in the fall or is already in school, because you should be filling out this form every year. Now, here are the updates. So for 2024, they have done a soft launch to really try to streamline the process. So before, where the form was like over 100 questions, they've streamlined it down to under 40 questions. I think they're like 36 questions or something like that on the form now. So that's very helpful. They are making it easier for kids who aren't attending your 4-year traditional colleges and universities to also be eligible for the aid, right? So if your child is deciding to go to a community college, right? These are all reasons why you need to fill out the FAFSA. The other thing with the FAFSA, I already told you kind of the 3 buckets of money that you're able to receive. The thing about the FAFSA is the deadlines are different for different states, right? So depending on where you live, the deadlines may be different. You have federal aid and then you have your state aid. And so the federal deadline for the FAFSA form is June 30th, 2024. June 30th of 2024. Your state, some states, this is the update, have now unlinked their process with the federal process. So you, depending on where you live, you may have to fill out another form in order to see if you're eligible for any of your state aid. Okay, so you can go to studentaid.gov to learn more, and I just put it at the bottom of my screen if you're watching me on Facebook. So studentaid.gov will give you more information where you can dive deeper. You can go and look at the specific qualifications for the state in which you live in. You should also, if you know what college or university your student is attending or planning to attend, you can also go directly to that college and university. They should be able to give you more information on when their deadlines are. What do they require? Do they require more or less than what the FAFSA is asking you to submit? And so finally, with the FAFSA form, you want to make sure that you are completing it as soon as possible. So again, these first 4 days of the year have been a soft launch. There have been hundreds of thousands of people who have already jumped in, set up their account. And so you have to set up an account. Your student, if the loan is trying to be in the student name, if the loan is trying to be in the parent name, if you are a student and you are married, and your spouse might need to have access to qualify for some funding so that you can attend school, they need an account. And so that's very important, because when you when you log in to set up an account, I'm hearing some reports that it's taking as long as 3 days just to get an ID, just to get the credentials so that you can log in and complete the FAFSA form. All right. Now, the reason why it's so important and why you guys need to jump on this and not just hear me, but actually take action by visiting studentaid.gov, why you need to take action is because all of this federal aid is limited. It is limited, meaning that they will award scholarships, they will award funding, they will award grants, they will reward aid until it is depleted, until it runs out. So while the federal aid deadline is June 30th, 2024, they could go through these applications and award aid so that by May it's done. And so if you wait to June, if you wait late in the game, you may miss the bus, right? And so I want to make sure that you guys are aware of these updates. So again, if you have students who are planning to attend college in the fall, if you have current college students in your household and they still have a year, if they still have any time left, you want to make sure you're applying so that you have the option of becoming eligible for federal aid, for federal grants. That's money you don't have to pay back, for federal work study programs, right? It can also help you become eligible, or maybe a required form in order to receive merit-based aid. And so that's aid based off of, people who have high GPAs, who have done really well on the standardized tests, who have just been knocking it out the park academically. And then finally, it's important because it is one of the requirements. It unlocks the option for you to take a look and see if you're eligible for student loans. And those are things that you have to pay back, right? So you take out the money, you go to school, you do a good job, and then those repayments start kicking in, right? So usually 6 months after they graduate, they need to start being able to repay these student loans.